When she comes back after you pulled away, most men think the hard part is over. They believe the silence worked, the distance created desire, and now it's time to reconnect. That belief is exactly why most men lose control of the situation in the very moment they think they won. Because when she comes back, she is not returning the way you imagine. She is not coming back to choose you. She is coming back to test what changed. This is the moment that exposes everything. Not what you said before, not how long you stayed silent, but who you became while she was gone. Most men respond emotionally the moment she returns. They feel relief, validation, a rush of meaning, and without realizing it, they rush to restore closeness. They reply fast, they engage deeply, they reopen emotional access instantly, and in seconds, they undo weeks of distance. A high-value man responds very differently, not because he is cold, not because he is playing games, but because his emotional center is no longer dependent on her reaction. This is what most men never understand. Pulling away only works if it reflects an internal shift. If you pulled away hoping she would come back, the moment she does, your emotional posture collapses, she feels it instantly, and once certainty returns, attraction fades again. That is why so many men say, she came back and then disappeared again. What she is really asking when she comes back is simple. Is he still where I left him? Or did he actually move forward? A high-value man does not answer that question with words. He answers it with emotional consistency. His energy does not spike. His attention does not suddenly become available. His life does not pause because she reappeared. This is what she never sees coming. Most men think attraction is created by doing something right in the moment. In reality, attraction survives only when nothing collapses in the moment, when emotional independence holds steady even after contact resumes. This video is not about clever replies or scripts. It is about understanding why coming back is not the same as choosing, why most men fail right after success, and how a high-value man responds without chasing, freezing, or losing control. Because the real test is not whether she comes back. The real test is whether you stay grounded when she does. And if you fail that test, silence will never work again. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course. It's a brotherhood. A private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community, enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1, what her coming back actually means psychologically. When she comes back after you pulled away, most men assume one thing. They assume attraction returned, they believe the silence worked, the distance created desire, and now the connection is ready to restart. Psychologically, that assumption is dangerous because coming back is not the same as choosing. When a woman returns after distance, she is responding to internal uncertainty, not emotional clarity. Something shifted while you were gone, but not enough to create a decision. Her return is not a commitment, it is a check. She is asking one question, whether consciously or not. Did he actually change, or was he just waiting? This is why her return often feels casual, indirect, or even confusing. She may reach out with something small, a neutral message, a reason that does not justify the timing. These are not accidents. They are designed to test emotional access without risk. If she wanted to commit, she would be clear. If she wanted closeness, she would move forward. Instead, she creates an opening that allows her to retreat if certainty returns too quickly. Most men miss this completely. They treat her return as confirmation. They lean in emotionally. They increase effort. They try to reconnect the bond immediately. And the moment they do, they answer the test in the worst possible way. They prove that nothing changed. Psychologically, this restores the old dynamic. Emotional access becomes automatic again. Certainty reappears, and once certainty is back, attraction no longer has space to grow. This is why women often come back and then disappear again. Not because the man did something wrong outwardly, but because his emotional position collapsed inwardly the moment she reappeared. A high-value man understands something different. He understands that her return is not about the past. It is about the present emotional structure. He does not treat her presence as a reward. He does not rush to rebuild intimacy. His emotional posture remains exactly the same as it was during silence. Calm, grounded, self-directed. This consistency is what she is actually testing for. When she senses that your life did not pause, that your emotional stability did not depend on her return, something unexpected happens. The uncertainty that brought her back does not resolve. It deepens, and deepened uncertainty pulls attention inward. Most men believe success is getting her back. In reality, success is maintaining emotional independence when she does, because attraction only survives contact when the internal shift behind the silence remains intact. Understanding this reframes the entire moment. You stop seeing her return as a finish line. You see it as a checkpoint, a psychological test that decides whether attraction stabilizes or collapses. And how you respond to that test has nothing to do with clever words. It has everything to do with who you are emotionally when she shows up again. Section 2. The first interaction that pushes her away again. The first interaction after she comes back decides the entire trajectory. Most men believe attraction is rebuilt through connection, warmth, and emotional availability. In reality, attraction collapses when emotional access is restored too quickly. The most common mistake is emotional acceleration. Men reply too fast. They engage too deeply. They show relief, excitement, or validation. Even if their words are polite and calm, the emotional energy behind them says everything. It says that her return mattered too much. She feels that instantly. When emotional access becomes automatic again, the uncertainty that brought her back disappears. Certainty returns, and certainty is the end of attraction, not the beginning of it. Another version of this mistake is emotional explanation. Men try to clarify what happened during the distance. They explain why they pulled away, what they learned, or how they feel now. They believe transparency shows growth. Psychologically, it shows emotional availability and a desire for validation. Explanation restores the old dynamic. Some men attempt the opposite and act distant or cold on purpose. This also fails. Performative detachment feels defensive and unstable. It creates resistance instead of intrigue. A high-value man does not perform distance. He remains steady. The correct posture in the first interaction is calm neutrality. You respond without urgency. You engage without leaning emotionally. You do not revisit the past. Your tone is natural. Your energy is unchanged. Your emotional center does not move because she reappeared. This communicates something powerful. It shows that your silence was not a tactic. It was a consequence of self-direction. And self-direction does not disappear because someone returns. Most men fail here because they believe politeness equals availability. They believe warmth requires emotional openness, but emotional openness without stability restores certainty too fast. A high-value man understands that the first interaction is not about reconnecting. It is about maintaining the emotional shift that made her come back in the first place. You are not trying to impress her. You are not trying to move things forward. You are allowing the dynamic to reveal itself naturally. When your first interaction does not resolve her internal question, curiosity stays alive. And when curiosity stays alive, attraction has room to stabilize instead of collapsing again. Section 3. Why her hesitation after coming back is actually a good sign. After she comes back, many men expect momentum. They assume that attraction should now move forward clearly and consistently. When it doesn't, when she hesitates, slows down, or seems unsure, fear immediately appears. Most men read this hesitation as rejection. Psychologically, it is often the opposite. Hesitation after coming back usually means that attraction is active, not absent. Something pulled her back into the dynamic, but her nervous system has not yet decided how safe it is to stay. That uncertainty creates pause, not distance. When attraction is gone, there is no hesitation. There is closure. Hesitation exists only when something is unresolved. This is why her behavior after returning can feel inconsistent. She may engage, then pull back. She may show interest without commitment. She may test boundaries without moving forward. These are not signs of disinterest. They are signs of internal conflict. The conflict is simple. Part of her wants to reconnect. Part of her is afraid of losing control again. Most men sabotage this phase by trying to eliminate the hesitation. They reassure, they explain, they push clarity. They want to stabilize the situation so they don't lose it. But stabilizing too early restores certainty, and certainty kills attraction. A high-value man does not rush to resolve hesitation. He understands that hesitation is a processing phase. It is the nervous system recalibrating after certainty collapsed. When he allows that process to happen without interference, the dynamic stays open-ended. This is where emotional discipline matters most. You do not chase reassurance. You do not try to convince. You do not withdraw emotionally either. You remain present without leaning. This posture communicates emotional safety without emotional dependence. It shows that you are not trying to control the outcome, and that lack of pressure is what allows attraction to deepen instead of retreat. Another reason hesitation is misunderstood is because men confuse clarity with security. They believe that if things are defined, they are safe. In attraction, definition often creates pressure before the connection is ready to support it. Hesitation allows attraction to form its own structure. When you tolerate hesitation without reacting, you demonstrate something rare, emotional confidence that does not depend on certainty. That confidence is felt immediately. This is why many women pull back briefly after returning and then move closer later, not because the man chased, but because he stayed grounded. Understanding this changes how you experience hesitation. It stops feeling like a threat. It becomes information, a signal that something is still alive and processing. And when you allow that processing to complete naturally, attraction either stabilizes honestly or fades without drama. Both outcomes protect your self-respect. Section 4. How a high-value man responds over time. Not just in one message. Most men believe the key moment is the first reply. They think if they say the right thing once, everything will fall into place. That belief is why they lose control days later, even if the first interaction went well. Attraction is not decided in one message. It is decided through consistency of emotional posture over time. A high-value man understands that how he responds today must match how he responds tomorrow. His emotional center does not drift closer just because contact resumed. His life rhythm does not change because she came back. His availability remains intentional, not reactive. This is where most men fail quietly. They hold it together in the first interaction, but over time, emotional gravity pulls them back toward her. They begin responding faster, they initiate more, they adjust their schedule, they subtly reorient their attention around the connection, and without realizing it, they recreate the old dynamic. She feels that shift before she can explain it. What keeps attraction alive is not distance, it is self-direction. A high-value man continues living exactly as he was before she returned. He does not reduce interest, but he does not increase it either. His attention is warm but not consuming. His presence is steady but not guaranteed. This consistency communicates something powerful. It shows that her return did not change his center, that she is welcome, but not necessary for his emotional stability. Over time, this creates a new dynamic. She begins adjusting to his rhythm instead of him adjusting to hers, not because he demanded it, but because his life continued forward without hesitation. That forward movement is what sustains attraction. Another mistake men make here is emotional bookkeeping. They track effort, they measure who is doing more, they wonder whether she is showing enough. That internal accounting pulls emotional energy back toward outcome, and outcome focus kills polarity. A high-value man does not keep score. He observes patterns. Patterns reveal intention far better than effort. Consistency over time matters more than intensity in the moment. When attraction is real, she will naturally move closer to the rhythm he maintains. If she does not, the dynamic fades without emotional damage, and that is also strength. This is why high value response is not about control. It is about stability. When your emotional posture remains unchanged across time, not just during silence, you communicate self-respect without words, and self-respect is what allows attraction to either deepen or dissolve cleanly. Most men try to win her back. A high-value man never leaves himself in the first place, and that difference is felt every day, not just in one message. Section 5, the signs that show whether her return is real or just another cycle. After she comes back, most men stay stuck in interpretation mode. They analyze messages, they count response times, they search for reassurance in tone and frequency. This keeps them emotionally reactive and blind to the only thing that actually matters, patterns. Real attraction does not reveal itself through intensity. It reveals itself through direction. When her return is real, her behavior slowly begins aligning with your emotional posture. She does not rush closeness, but she does not drift away either. She stays present across time, even when there is no pressure to do so. The interaction feels open-ended rather than cyclical. A cycle feels different. In a cycle, her behavior spikes and drops. She returns when uncertainty or loneliness appears, then fades once emotional access is restored. There is no forward movement, only repetition. The dynamic resets without ever evolving. Most men fail here because they confuse engagement with progress. A conversation that feels warm is not progress. A message that feels emotional is not progress. Progress is consistency that does not depend on mood. When attraction is real, she starts making small adjustments without being asked. She adapts to your rhythm instead of pulling you into hers. She respects space without testing it constantly. She becomes more intentional, not more dramatic. When it is just another cycle, everything feels familiar. The same conversations, the same pauses, the same uncertainty, the same emotional pullback. Once she feels safe again, a high-value man does not try to break the cycle through effort. He refuses to participate in it. He does not chase clarity. He does not demand commitment. He simply maintains his emotional posture and observes. If her behavior aligns, attraction stabilizes. If it does not, the cycle ends naturally. This is why emotional discipline matters more than tactics. When you stop reacting to temporary closeness, you gain clarity without confrontation. You allow the truth to reveal itself. Another sign of real return is responsibility. Not apology, not guilt, but ownership. She shows awareness of the past without you needing to explain it. She moves forward without reopening old wounds repeatedly. In cycles, the past is used as an emotional reset. In real attraction, the past is acknowledged and left behind. Understanding this frees you from guessing. You stop asking whether she is serious, you stop waiting for reassurance, you stop overanalyzing silence, you let behavior answer the question for you, and when you let behavior speak, you regain control without force. Because a high-value man does not need to decide whether her return is real, he allows consistency to decide for him. Section 6, if she pulls away again, what a high-value man does differently. When she pulls away again after seeming consistent, most men experience the same internal reaction. Anxiety returns, doubt spikes, the mind starts searching for the mistake that must have caused it. This is where most men give back all the power they built. A high-value man does not interpret pullbacks emotionally, he interprets them structurally. Pulling away after returning is not always rejection. Very often, it is regulation. The nervous system steps back when emotional intensity increases, especially if certainty was broken before. That pause is not a verdict. It is a recalibration. Most men fail here because they try to fix the pullback. They check in, they reassure, they increase effort. All of these actions communicate the same thing. Her distance destabilized me. The moment she feels that your emotional state depends on her consistency, the dynamic collapses back into certainty. Certainty ends attraction. A high-value man responds with non-reaction. Not silence as punishment, not coldness as defense, but steadiness as identity. He does not rush to restore closeness. He does not withdraw in resentment either. His emotional posture stays exactly where it was when she was consistent, calm, grounded, self-directed. This communicates something rare: emotional strength that is not situational. When she pulls away and nothing changes in you, two things can happen. Either attraction continues regulating and returns on its own, or the dynamic fades without drama. In both cases, you do not lose control. Most men fear this moment because they believe distance equals loss. In reality, reaction equals loss. Distance only reveals what was already unstable. Another mistake men make here is interpreting silence as disrespect. They take it personally. They pull away emotionally out of pride. That creates polarity collapse from the opposite direction. A high-value man does not oscillate. He remains consistent. Consistency is what gives attraction a chance to stabilize. If she comes back again and finds you unchanged, the pattern deepens. If she does not, the situation resolves honestly. Both outcomes preserve your self-respect. This is why high-value response is not about control, it is about emotional invariance. Your emotional state does not rise with closeness. It does not fall with distance. That stability is what separates men who stay stuck in cycles from men who naturally exit them. And once you embody that, silence no longer scares you, because silence cannot take away what you no longer give for free. Section 7, the one principle that defines a high-value response. Everything a high-value man does after she comes back can be traced to one principle. He does not react to her behavior. He remains anchored to his own direction. Most men believe value is shown through effort. They think being present, responsive, and emotionally available proves maturity. In reality, value is revealed through consistency of self-direction, not through responsiveness. When she comes back, she is not testing your interest. She already knows you were interested before. She is testing whether your emotional center is still oriented around her or whether it has shifted back to yourself. This is the moment where most men unknowingly give themselves away. They reprioritize her. They readjust their life around her. They reattach emotionally. None of this is said out loud. It is felt. A high-value man does none of this. His schedule remains intact. His goals remain primary. His emotional state remains steady regardless of contact. He does not reduce interest, but he does not reorganize his life to accommodate her return either. This is not indifference. This is emotional sovereignty. When your life continues forward without hesitation, her return becomes optional rather than central. That shift is what allows attraction to stabilize rather than spike and collapse. Most men misunderstand this because they believe not reacting means not caring. In reality, not reacting means not being controlled. Care without control is what creates respect. Another critical distinction is this: a high-value man does not wait to see what she will do next. He does not pause his forward motion, hoping for clarity. He continues building, moving, and living as if the outcome is not required for his emotional well-being. This is what she responds to, even if she cannot articulate it. Not the silence, not the distance, but the fact that your life did not revolve around her absence or return. Once you embody this principle, everything becomes simpler. You no longer need scripts. You no longer need timing strategies. You no longer need to guess what to do next. You simply remain consistent with who you are becoming. If she aligns with that direction, attraction deepens naturally. If she does not, the dynamic fades without damage. Both outcomes are strength. This is why high-value response is not about winning her back. It is about never losing yourself again. And when you reach that point, whether she stays or goes, stops defining you, all in all, when she comes back after you pulled away, it feels like a second chance. For most men, it also feels like pressure. Pressure to respond correctly, pressure to secure the connection, pressure to not mess it up again. That pressure is exactly what destroys everything. A high value man does not see her return as a moment to act. He sees it as a moment to remain unchanged. His emotional posture does not shift because her behavior changed. His life does not pause because she reappeared. His sense of self does not reorganize around the interaction. This is what most men never realize. The power of pulling away was never in the silence. It was in what that silence revealed about you. If you grew, if you re entered, if you became self directed. Again, her return only tests one thing. Did that shift survive contact? If it did, attraction has space to stabilize. If it didn't, the dynamic resets instantly. This is why some men experience women coming back and staying, while others experience women coming back and disappearing again. The difference is not what they say. It is who they are emotionally when she shows up. A high-value man does not try to control outcomes. He controls his direction. He does not chase certainty. He remains comfortable inside uncertainty. And that comfort is what creates respect. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop fearing silence. You stop overthinking returns. You stop reacting to pullbacks. You allow dynamics to reveal themselves without sacrificing your self-respect. And whether she stays or goes, you do not lose anything because you are no longer building your value around her response. That is the real reason high-value men never feel desperate when she comes back. They already moved forward. Remember, knowledge means nothing without action. If you're ready to rise above emotion and lead with purpose, join the community today at the link below. Enroll once, grow forever.